Okay, so in today's video, we're going to be looking at the winners and losers of the Major League Baseball offseason. The offseason is over, so let's go ahead and look at the winners and losers. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn notifications because this is the place to be on Baseball YouTube. Leave a like, subscribe, and turn notifications. Best place to be on Baseball YouTube if you want great baseball content. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into this video with the winners of Major League Baseball offseason. Let's start off positively in the winners. First winners, the New York Mets, clearly. They made a buttload of moves this offseason. The Mets did. They brought in Max Scherzer, of course, for a huge contract. Starling Marte, they brought him in. Eduardo Escobar, both for rather cheap deals for those players. And they also brought in Mark Canha. He'll be in the outfield and left for them. You know, you brought in Chris Bassett via trade from the Oakland Athletics. That's a guy that's going to be a really solid number 3 for them. You know, you brought in Adam Ottavino as well, which is going to be a good move. You know, they brought in a lot this offseason. And the New York Mets had a straight-up W of an offseason. I mean, any offseason which you bring in Max Scherzer, Starling Marte, Mark Canha, all these guys, it's a clear W of an offseason. Next winner is the Philadelphia Phillies. The Phillies had another very much so W of an offseason. The Phillies, they brought in a lot this offseason. That's going to be key to their team in 2020. They brought in Nick Castellanos and Kyle Schwarber. They brought in those guys via free agency. They also brought in Corey Knebel for the bullpen and Juris Familia, Brad Hand also as well. They didn't do a lot as far as the trade market. This is still a team that, you know, improved their bullpen a lot, improved their lineup quite a bit as well. I mean, this is Schwarber and Castellanos for their projections are combined for 69 home runs looking at in, 2022. So this is a team that, really had a good offseason, the Phillies did. And they're going to be looking for a much improved 2022 season, even though it is a tough National League East. Let's go ahead and head to the American League now. Minnesota Twins are a clear winner of this offseason. They being a smaller market team, were not expected to do a lot this offseason, but they definitely did do a lot because they went crazy this offseason with their moves. I mean, you extended Byron Buxton, traded Josh Donaldson, Isaiah Kiner, all in to try to get Carlos Correa, and ended up doing that. Your lineup looks a lot better. You get a guy in Carlos Correa who's arguably one of the best shortstop in baseball. He was a first overall pick in 2012 for a reason. This is a guy who posted a 279 batting average, 366 on base, 485 slug, 26 home runs. He was the best free agent this offseason, and the Twins grabbed him, which was definitely not expected. They also brought in Sonny Gray, a 4.19 ERA and 135 innings in 2021 with the Cincinnati Reds. They brought him in for not too much. I mean, Chase Petty, of course, you had to give up your draft pick, but your 2021 draft pick. But if you're looking to win right now, that's not that much of a problem. And yeah, they had an overall clear W of an off. And the next W of an offseason heads to the Toronto Blue Jays because the Blue Jays had one clear W of an off. I mean, if you say that this Toronto Blue Jays offseason is an L, you're just wrong because they brought in an all-star gold glove type player in Matt Chapman who had his worst season in his career, posting a 210 batting average with 27 home runs. And what he does not show as much on the stat sheet or whatever. And Kevin Gossman is a guy who posted a 2.81 ERA in 192 innings. Of course, you lose that American League Cy Young winner, but who more would you want to replace him with than Kevin Gossman? Their bullpen obviously is still shaky, but when you bring in Kevin Gossman, you pulled off the Ramel Tapia for Randall Grichuk trade and get Matt Chapman in an offseason. That's a clear W of an offseason for me. And the next one's the Texas Rangers. They didn't bring in any pitching, which was a little bit of a surprise to me, but the Rangers clearly had a W of an offseason. Considering you got Marcus Semien and Corey Seager and Mitch Garver all in the same offseason, I mean, that's 3 really good players all in the same offseason there. I mean, Marcus Semien, this is a guy that, best second baseman in baseball last year. And Corey Seager, when healthy, is arguably the best shortstop in baseball. So, I mean, your infield for the future is looking great. You also brought in John Gray. I mean, this is a team in the Rangers that is looking miles better than they did in 2021. And let's go ahead and head to some losers. One clear loser is the Oakland Athletics. I mean, You lost Matt Chapman, Matt Olson in the same offseason. I mean, that's just a total L of an offseason. I mean, you lost your two cornerstone players in one offseason. And, all you have left is Sean Murphy, Sean Manaea, and Frankie Montas. So there's not a lot to look forward to in Oakland. And they don't even know how much longer they'll be even playing in Oakland for that. The Astros are a loser this offseason, too. Yes, of course, you bring back multi-time Cy Young winner in Justin Verlander. But this is also a team that lost arguably their best player last year in Carlos Correa. And that's a big L for them. Of course, Jeremy Pena, I think, is still going to be very solid. But he can't fill the void of what Carlos Correa left behind. And next up, on our losers is the New York Yankees. I'm sorry, Yankees fans, but it has to happen. The Yankees simply had a miserable offseason. I mean, we heard rumors about Matt Olson, Freddie Freeman, Carlos Correa, Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, everybody we were just hearing the Yankees rumored in, and they did basically nothing besides trading for Josh Donaldson and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, which I'm not trashing on those players. Those are good players, and re-signing Anthony Rizzo. But it's not the offseason that, everybody hyped it up to be. You know what I mean? It just is not the offseason that we were expecting from the Yankees. We were expecting much more money spending, and, this is a team that acted more like a team like the Cincinnati Reds that, is trying to spend pennies on the dollar in 2022. It doesn't make sense. And that leads us into our next team in the Cincinnati Reds. They finished 83-79 in 2022. They lost a lot this offseason. They lost Nick Castellanos. They traded Jesse Winker and Eugenio Suarez for a bag of Texas Roadhouse peanuts this offseason. They basically have done nothing good but leaving Joey Votto on a terrible team for 2022 and trading two very solid players for absolutely nothing. I don't know what the Reds are doing, but they definitely had a terrible offseason. It was not a good off at all, simply put. I mean, it was just not a good off at all. A very, very bad offseason. And, there's not another clear loser here to me. But one that I do kind of want to mention is the Chicago White Sox. I feel like they, kind of had a little bit of a regrettable offseason. Even though you did bring in Kendall Graveman and some key bullpen on. Losing Carlos Rodon makes their rotation much weaker, even though they still do have Lance Lynn, Lucas Giolito, and Dylan Cease. I mean, they're just not a ball. You know what I mean? I think they'll still win the American League Central in 2022. Not trying to spoil any of my predictions or anything. But make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn notifications because this is the place to be on Baseball YouTube for some great baseball content throughout the MLB season. Make sure you subscribe because this is the place to be. Thank you for watching, and peace.